GM, we are live. Best Ball on call, nice and early. Like Best Ball on call, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out today. Best Ball on call, also out there in the streaming streets. If you have not subscribed to Best Ball on call, I would say you should do so as well. We have the puppy too. And yesterday's stream was a little bit of a fiasco for me. I'm going to come out and say it. Not my best work. I accidentally made the stream private when I made it. I was able to make it not private, but I ruined my StreamYard settings. So I could not bring up your comments. It threw me completely for a loop. I was shook. I think the people could tell. But today we are back at it bright and early. Everything is going fine. And this is a 20-second puppy. We're going to hop in 5 seconds. And then, yeah, hopefully we can get some of you all in. So I'll just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off we go. We are waiting for 9. So if you want to hop in, now is your chance. These have been filling pretty quickly. I cannot believe the fill rate on this contest. It's let me see what it's at. The fill rate for this new puppy is, we're already over 10%, which is absolutely crazy for this brand new contest. So yeah, I mean, I want a 150 maxis, but honestly, I don't like doing a lot of slows. So I don't think I'm going to be able to, just because this thing is just filling so quickly. So we're down to waiting for 1. If you want to hop in, now is your chance. And X Wall, you're rugging StreamYard. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe it. Like, StreamYard won't let you change it from public to private in the middle because the stream's already live, even though that doesn't actually like do anything. Like, yeah. Anyway, I went over this yesterday. It was a tough scene. B Grandy 17 GM to you. I see you in here at the 6 hole on real time. Hashtag QBs matter. 100% agree. Skeletor GM Chad's only in the chat. Kevin, good morning to you. I can't click it. Everything is terrible. What is this? It crashes everything. I don't know what wizardry you've invoked here, Kevin, but I'm blaming you. Tyler, what's up, stud? GM, thank you so much. Typhel Tower episode yesterday was hilarious. Definitely follow the burgeoning Typhel Tower YouTube channel, but also everywhere you can find Emo Cowboy, the Fantasy Sanctuary. First and foremost, they do great stuff, and I think it's like $1 to sub on YouTube. So you should do that. You should support Tyler, so that, you know, he's working for NASA because he either wants to escape this planet entirely, or, you know, we could help him escape the rat race. So I would support Tyler either way. He is trying to get out of here. Dirty P is up. GM, I see you in there at the 3 hole. Let's see, did anyone else get in? I don't think so. I think it's Dirty P and B Grandy. Dirty P, of course, sitting next to me here in the 3 hole. CMC going at the 101. People do weird stuff in the puppies. So you can get a lot of like kind of unique stuff out of the first round. I wouldn't get too excited if you get, you know, some kind of really nice build out of the 9 or 10 hole, because I think there's going to be a lot of weird things. I saw someone go Lamar, Josh Allen out of the 10 hole yesterday. So there's just, you know, it's $5 drafts. So people do some wild stuff. Tyler is tired. I don't blame you, man. You are out there in the real streets and in these content streets nonstop. Puppy 2 from On Real Time. Yeah, thank goodness, because I was doing weekly winner drafts because I was desperate. It was a tough scene. Tyler, nice stream with Who the other day. Yeah, that was so much fun. I was on with Who Hames last night, and that was a really fun stream. I actually thought we built a really good BBM team, and then we we built kind of a weird puppy team. But yeah, it was awesome being on with him. He was a great host, and that was a cool. My internet is being really wonky. Best Ball on call. I'll go. Yeah, Best Ball on call, ready to skedaddle here. So let's see if NASA can get us maybe all on the same ship out of here. The Toxic Tower. Yeah, it is so good. Tyler says, I never know if people actually enjoy these streams. Thank you, no, I do. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I think they're fantastic. Dirty Pete, bad job letting Hartman get the Burrow push, though. Yeah, I know. That's what happens. Like, we had Chase Brown, so we were the Burrow buyer of last resort, and we passed on him. So we did not protect the integrity of BBM 6. I think we're probably going to be getting a letter from Underdog, possibly from their legal team, threatening us that we need to be doing our part to keep the integrity of the tournament. So again, sincere apologies to everyone else in that tournament. We are coming up. We've got Jamar Chase here. I like Bucky. I think if I get my choice, I'll take Bucky here, and then one of Tyreek. I don't really do the Jamar Chase double very often. But being that I am on the outside, normally when you have Jamar Chase, you are sitting there at the 1 hole. And so the 2 hole is the Higgins person. So if you really want to push Burrow, then you probably should take Higgins so that you have both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. This time I'm the Jamar Chase guy and the outside of the T. Higgins guy, which is kind of weird. So I'm going to take MHJ and I'm going to try to push Burrow around the turn because I don't have to worry about the T. Higgins drafter, which is kind of rare as the Chase drafter. So we'll get that week 17 stack between the Cards and the Bengals, and we'll also get the week 16. Oh wait, no, I didn't get Tyreek. I did not get Tyreek. I don't know why in my head I got Tyreek Hill also. Somehow I thought I got 4 people through 3 rounds. Disregard all that. Anyway, we got the week 17 stack, which is good enough for me. DQ 105, good morning to you. Hello to everybody. StreamYards is also buggy with the updates. Yes, it is. It is. And it's funny because it says like in StreamYard, the main thing that goes wrong is touch up my appearance. I was going to make some joke that like, now you're seeing my, I've never actually turned it on. I think I turned it on once just to see what it would do. And it was like this uncanny valley effect. I'm like, nope, I'm good. You guys can just see that I'm not perfect. On Real Time Weekly Winners is the best tournament. It's interesting. I actually like the weekly winner stuff because you can do really weird builds, like take 2 elite of one position and then just completely punt it off. Like let's say you just take 2 really good running backs and you just hope that you just don't take any more. And you say the week that it's, I don't know, Gene T and Henry go off, then you're hoping that you're just going to spike the like nut wide receivers through volume. Like you can try to build outside the box versus like BBMs. You can do weird structures, which I do like about weekly winners, but it does require a lot of different thought. I think there's an edge to be had, and I just don't have the time to like figure out what that is. So I just kind of like go there and I'm like, I'll just take 3 running backs and never take another running back again. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Kelly Lapidus, amazing streams, Tyler, very entertaining. Kelly, when I started reading at time, your comment, you said amazing streams. I thought you were talking to me. But no, I agree. Tyler does have amazing streams. I'm just hoping to be, some fraction of Tyler of Tyler's entertainment. But thank you, Kelly, so much for coming by, Tyler. And that letter from Underdog cannot be opened due to file corruption issues, and they'll tell you it's your fault. Yeah. They'll tell you already opened it and that everyone else can open it just fine. And it's just you, Tyler says. Thank you to Kelly. GM Kelly is working and listening to this amazing stream. All right. So we did get a compliment from Kelly. We are so back. Let's see what we're getting. I'm not going to take, I am not going to take Burrow. Is Burrow even still here? No. Okay. Burrow is here. His ADP has just been slipping. I love Jameson Williams. I would not complain about getting him. This is a nice mini fall on Worthy. I guess Worthy's ADP has come down a bit. I'll take a Xavier Worthy share here. Week 10 buys a little bit of a maybe tiebreak away from Pickens with my next pick. Probably lean towards Jalen Waddle, just so I actually can get that Dolphins Bucks week 17 thing that I do like. And I like Waddle quite a bit. If Waddle goes, we will just take Chuba Hubbard. Let's see what Mr. Run Likely does. He takes Jalen Waddle. That's a little unfortunate. we will, Sutton would have been nice for Worthy. We didn't get that either. So we're just going to take Juba Hubbard. And that is fine. Tyler is on the grind. He can't wait for the weekend. Dirty Pete says you can have Burrow, but not JMO. Understandable. I can't have everything I want. Dirty Pete says Chad has great streams. It's a perfect blend of Pete jokes and breakfast vibe. Much deserved. It's honestly the best early stream. Tyler, that is too kind from you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And to be even mentioned in the same sentence as Pete, it means a lot. I appreciate it because he is truly the goat of the industry. Perfect stream for early morning. Thank you, Tyler, for saying that. You're much better at vamping solo in a fun way. I just ramp and ramble too much data. That is the nicest way that anyone's ever said that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like data? No, we don't need data. We've got pure vibes. But honestly, I've come to realize that I think structure is one of the bigger things that I can do to kind of improve my results here, and ADP does a lot of the work for you. I mean, like leaning into the market, which is, such an incredible source of information. I mean, people putting you know, real dollars into these tournaments, which do lead to the ADP. I think ignoring that for my own player takes is generally going to be dicey, right? Like I can only consume so much content. I can only watch so much that I think just like latching onto one specific player take is how I've gotten myself into trouble. So, but what I can do is I can learn the game theory. I can learn where the different pockets are in the draft and the different build structures and try to stick to that. And hopefully, I do have my player takes, obviously. Like I'm not saying not to have player takes, but it is something that I did too much last year, and I'm trying to get away from a little bit. GM Loots Tyler says you're natural in talking board and players in a color commentary succinct way where I'm roto dumping, and I don't hate it. I don't think people hate it. I think it's great. Like I learned so much watching your streams. Let's see if Dirty Pete gives us Joe Burrow. And after our pick, I will look over our friends and families team. Dirty P winding the clock. Does he want to give me Joe Burrow? He does. Thank you, Dirty P, for not sniping me on Burrow. I'll get the Burrow push. Happy to do that. And let's see what do we want to do? We have a pretty healthy range of both running back and receiver here. Kind of interesting because this starts boiling down to kind of player takes. I've been fading David Montgomery. I think I'm more into one of these more exciting backs like a Judkins. I've really come around to Pacheco being a good click here, but let's take, you know what? Yeah, this is tough. Let's take Pacheco. I think, I think we might look back at these drafts and realize that we were getting the Chiefs running back one in the 7th round, and that's going to seem pretty good. Again, just trying to vary the people I take. I do already have Worthy. So, we're making a bet on the Chiefs offense as it is. So I'll double that bet there and take Pacheco. Let's see what our friends have done. Dirty P, he starts Justin Jefferson, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, Jamison Williams, Ken Walker, Sam Laporta, and David Montgomery. So he's got a really nice Lions stack going, and the ultimate bring back with Justin Jefferson. I like that quite a bit. B Grandy goes robust RB with Saquon and Taylor. I mean, those could be the RB 1 and 2. I think that's not the craziest outcome there. I'm not saying it's the most likely, but I do really like Jonathan Taylor this season. I think he's a great pick in the 2nd. JSN, Tent McMillan, Travis Hunter, Caleb Johnson, and Josh Downs. All those picks make a ton of sense. You get the little week 18 JSN Tet McMillan situation, which I think is nice. And you have a burgeoning Colts stack. So, yeah, I like the team, and of course, Travis Hunter plays the Colts. So you are clearly building with something in mind there. So, B Grandy 17, I like your team as well. All right. Tyler says Judkins has been tough to swallow, but I'm coming around. Same with Pacheco. Yeah, I like Judkins, but I am a little afraid it's going to be there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Like, it could end up being crowded. Sampson's not nothing. I mean, I think a lot of people were really in on Sampson, and Ford is the wild card. Like, you talk to some people, they think Ford is an amazing click who took less money to be on a team because he's got his role. That's, Ford was a really good pick last season. And then you talk to other people who think Ford took a pay cut because it was that or like the soup kitchen. So I don't know. He could be the leader in a two-headed backfield where it's very clear he's the lead back, or it could be a three-headed quagmire. And you're also dealing with the Browns, whose offense we're just not excited about. We don't have any idea who the quarterback's going to be. So there's a lot of question marks. I don't want none of him because he was kind of a combine superstar, and is a kind of exciting prospect we want to be drafting. But the 7th round is pretty high. It is pretty high for a running back in a kind of an iffy situation there. Interesting question for what we want to do. Mahomes would be really aggressive and also week 10. So unfortunately, we would still have to make this a 3 QB build, even if we get him. We do need a tight end, and Hawkinson is here fairly far past ADP. But if we take Mahomes and Travis Kelce is there, so maybe let's just take Kelce. If Mr. Run Likely takes Mahomes, which I don't think Mahomes makes sense for his team, but let's do it. Let's take Travis Kelce. And if we get Mahomes, we get Mahomes. If we don't get him, so he double taps Purdy and Nix. Let's get aggressive. It's a puppy. We're trying to win a lot. Maybe maybe I thought of this too late. Maybe I should have just done Kyler and MHJ and then taken a receiver there instead of Kelce. So we're definitely going to be, really kind of scrambling for the back end of our wide receiver room. But if we think Chase, MHJ, and Worthy are elite, then we're really not going to need too much more to carry us through the year. Again, probably looking to take one more, I don't want to say elite, but kind of mid-tier tight end so that we can end this with 2 tight ends rather than going for like a 3-6-6-3 kind of build, because we do need another quarterback. I don't want to eat a 0 there. And unfortunately, we don't have any natural quarterback for who that would be, because we don't we don't have a 4th receiver, and we've stacked 2, and Kyler is going to be gone. So we'll pull the board back up. Rashid Shaheed, he took Hawkinson and Shaheed. Hawkinson, of course, made a ton of sense with his bet on that Week 17 game and just bet on the Vikings in general. B. Grandy, he takes Etienne and Coleman. Etienne is a guy that I've been pretty out on, but I'm starting to realize I probably should take some of him. There's a chance he just is the Jags running back, and that's a world I didn't think I would live in, but it could be the world that we're all stuck in together. Or my nightmare scenario is he gets cut and ends up like on the Cowboys, and then I'm going to wish I had a ton of him. All right, let's go back. Al Boogie asks if someone said tough swallow. GM, everyone. Tyler appreciates it. Al Boogie says hello to Tyler, and Tyler says hello back. Timid 1387. First of all, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Appreciate the support. Timid keeps forgetting about Cleveland. Njoku could be an incredible tight end. Absolutely. Njoku could even end up on this team as the second tight end with Travis Kelce. Darkside Dev, jobs don't cut your pay if they like you. That's for sure. That's fair, Darkside Dev. That's fair, but the NFL's weird. Like, I mean, yeah, I see your point. I see your point, but I don't know what other options Ford had. Like, I don't know if there was, it was really like, we're going to cut you and you're going to, wash up as the RB3 somewhere you're unfamiliar with, or you stay. I don't know. I'm in the camp where I'm not drafting Ford, but I think there is like a certain contingent of people that think Ford is like going to carve out some kind of nuisance role in what we like to think is, 2 exciting rookies in the backfield. They definitely do like, they like Ford well enough to keep him around and not just like completely move on from him. So I think for us, the J.K. Dobbins just makes a ton of sense. Bring back to Kansas City. I was talking with Hames yesterday, and he is of the opinion that it's entirely possible that Dobbins ends up being the leading running back in Denver. And I think if Dobbins is healthy, unfortunately, that's not the most outrageous supposition that one could have. It's with Dobbins, it's always been an issue of health. And he kind of fell off last season. We remember the early games where he was really good. He was not amazing late, but I do think he is going to have a pretty good role on an offense that we're all pretty in on. So I will take him. And then speaking of dust balls, I guess the question is Christian Kirk or Marvin Mims. I'm going to take Christian Kirk here. Herzig put out something basically saying that Christian Kirk isn't a bad pick, and who am I to argue? He's at least going to start out the season. It sounds like his early camp went well. He's going to start out as a slot receiver on the Texans, and we think he's going to ultimately lose the role probably to Jalen Noel by the end of the year, but I don't know. Kirk's usually really good until he gets injured. Like, he just gets injured at the end of every season. So we'll take a Christian Kirk share. I don't take a ton of him. I mean, Mims, you could argue, was a better pick with my KC Denver thing, but Mims really is a part-time player, more of a spike weeky guy. Whereas I think if Kirk could surprise. So I've come around to taking a little more Kirk. And, I didn't want to totally pass on receiver for tight end, because with my next picks in this 12 and 13 range, wide receiver there's almost nobody there. And then, so my last 3 receivers were all going to be, or even 4 receivers, all like very late. So we'll add Christian Kirk to this team. Dirty P, he takes JJ McCarthy. He smartly pushes around the turn, knowing I wasn't going to take him. And Mr. Unlikely was Mr. Unlikely to take him there. Greg V's GM gang, kind of wild training camp's about to start. Yeah, it's a little clickbaity because it's like the Chargers rookies report on the 12th and nobody else. So it's like, yeah, training camp starts, but it's like one team's rookie class. but yeah, I mean, within the next week and a half, there's going to be some actual news there. Al Boogie is finishing up work. Timid 1387, especially with the experienced QB play outside of Flacco, could rely on Njoku as the reliable safety blanket. Yeah, Njoku is a darn good player. I take him quite a bit. He was one of my highest exposed big board players. Speaking of exposures, I can get that rolling for the people, so you can see my BBM exposures. I might be missing a draft or two, but that's fairly current. If anyone is wondering my big stands, you can see them there. Tyler loves the Njoku price and doesn't get enough because he's hammering QB or RB there. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, this range feels so much better when you're taking quarterback, because it's like, it's a click your team needs. You don't really have questions about them. They make sense for how you're building. And if you're scrounging for running back or wide receiver, it's like, yeah, I'm telling myself like, oh, Christian Kirk is a good pick. And it's, Kyle Williams, this could be the wide receiver 4 or 5. Cedric Tillman, the Slappy community absolutely adores Cedric Tillman, but he's the wide receiver 2 on a team where we don't know who the QB is. So, you know what? We're going to take CJ Stroud here. This is pretty aggressive draft capital for quarterback, but I'll add him to the team. He does stack with Kirk. I didn't intentionally do that, but it's almost 10 picks of ADP value there. We do need somebody, and I would really be backstacking like a Darnold MVS or a Bryce Young, Thielen or Lee Get kind of pick, which I not, I don't want to do that every time. And I did get the opportunity to backstack Stroud. So let's take QJ. He's a week 17 matchup with Houston. I've kind of come around to QJ being, a guy I was completely out on last year and had a pretty darn good season. Obviously, they took Harris, but QJ is clearly something of a Harbaugh guy, and he was a high draft capital pick. They didn't give up on him, and you know, I don't take a ton of QJ, but I don't want to end up with absolutely none because I do really like the Chargers. And again, he makes a little bit of sense on this team as a Houston bring back. Let's see what Dirty P and friends did. Dirty P, he took Tillman and Algier. That makes sense. B Grandy got Dallas Goedert. I love Dallas Goedert in the 130s. I think he goes too late. I think he should be going, probably around ahead of where he goes. And then Bryce Young, which makes sense because you have that. I think you're the Tet McMillan team. Yep, you are the Tet McMillan team. So you were able to build a couple stacks there. I'll keep the board up. Tyler agrees with Timid on the Njoku call. NFL isn't a normal job, and Cleveland has to be money conscious with Watson contract. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and like people do team friendly contracts. You never know what kind of like backdoor deals there are. Like, I'm not saying that happened here, but players randomly become coaches later or end up in the broadcast booth. Like you just don't know. There's sometimes more to these things. And I he did take a pay cut to stay, and who knows, maybe he would have been offered more money at another team and declined it. Like we don't really have the full story. So yeah, again, it's just such an ambiguous situation. Who aims up, fam? Who aims? I had so much fun yesterday on stream with you. Thank you again for having me. That was awesome. And if you all don't subscribe to Who Hames, you should. And if you don't subscribe to me, I would love it. We're last I checked, I was at 124. We're on the road to 200, and appreciate all of you hanging out. So if you could drop a like and a sub, and I would really appreciate it. Dark Side Dev. At Tyler, I never hear star players has to take less. Well, I mean, Tom Brady took less money famously. People can nitpick about the Brady thing, but that was, people do take team friendly deals if they're happy where they are and if they think it'll make the team better. But yeah, I don't know if they asked the star player or the star player like volunteers it. So, but yes, no one's saying Jerome Ford is the star player. DQ105 says Kirk will be great. Well, I hope so for this team, although I don't think I have any like BBM shares with Kirk. So I hope he's good. I hope he's good, but not like the guy you need, or I have like 60 days. I don't know if you all saw it. Like I don't know if my stream like just died for a second there. So there goes Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant, I would have liked to add to the team there. Tight end kind of got away from me. I said I was going to take another tight end, and I didn't get one. I think Mike Gesicki would be the pick, although he has the same buy as Kelsey, which is not great. But I think now at this point, this is going to just be a 3-6-6-3 type team. So let's take Gesicki, and we will add one more player in this range. Probably be Jalen Knoll. We'll build out the rest of this Houston situation and tell ourselves we are at the very least going to get somebody playing in the slot for them. I don't know if this is good. I don't know if Knoll and Kirk is good or bad. And I think I feel like someone a lot smarter than me has run the numbers and could easily tell me this, but because I think it's unlikely they're both a hit. So maybe I'm using two roster spots on kind of one position, but I really do like that position. That could be a really valuable role. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'm curious as to what people think of doing that, because this I think is kind of a unique situation where it almost could be a like for like there. But I do like building out this bet on the Texans, and who knows, maybe injuries shuffle things up, and I think this is kind of a interesting point on the team. Tyler says we are not talking about star players. Spears also was week 16. Casey, yeah, Dirty P. This is where I've almost capitulated to big overlay to get the week 16 stuff. I don't know all the week 16 games, and I do like Tajay Spears. He may have made a little more sense than Jalen Knoll on this team. Maybe a late Yoshi Voss would have been better than Noel there. I'm not really sure. I think that was in kind of a pick. I could have gone a lot of different directions. I don't know if I picked the best one. J.K. Dobbins was paid $500K guaranteed last year. Smash as a week 16 to 18 round to be determined. Forward ain't washy. It's just not the hunt type. RB market was brutal this offseason. Could be bad timing. Yeah, it was the running back market was tough this year. And so I think, again, I just think it's something where we just don't have a lot of information. And like we see from the chat, people have strong opinions about Ford, like whether he's a thing or he's total dust. And so I just think all that says, I'm not saying which side is right or wrong. I just think it's like very ambiguous. And so I kind of want to play it like a very ambiguous backfield, not pile too much into Judkins. I'm fine fading Ford, because if it turns out he does have a role, where does he get drafted anyway? He's still going to go in like the 18th round, if at all. And I just think, if anything, that might just hurt Judkins a little bit or make Sampson kind of an iffy click. So I'm hoping that's one of those situations we get more clarity. Goddard had similar situation on the Eagles. Yep. Greg V.S. Cedric Tillman to the moon. Jerry Jeudy, who you don't have to FUD me on Jerry Jeudy. I am such a Jerry Jeudy hater. I barely take him. DQ105. Jameis is a patch catcher fantasy dream. Wish he was still with the Browns. That would be much more fun. Greg V. Flacco is white. Jameis, yeah, I mean, similar. Like they're just not scared of turnovers and will just sling it around the yard. I think I'm going to take Miles Sanders over Nick Chubb. I know Nick Chubb is on Houston, but I don't mind taking Miles Sanders, because I really think there's a shot that Miles Sanders actually is like the lead back in Dallas, which is a terrifying thing, but you don't get a lot of bets like that in the 16th round. So I will make it. I don't love Miles Sanders. This pick could look really stupid, but we will take him there. And boy, do we just take Dalton Schultz? I don't like Dalton Schultz, but if I'm ever going to take Dalton Schultz, I don't really want to eat the bye weeks. We'll just take Schultz. Somehow I managed to stack all three tight ends. I don't know that you really need to go out of your way to do that, but we did it here. Dirty P said he added Slayton and Tyler Show, so taking no chances on getting the third quarterback there, because he might People are very 3 QB pilled. He could have been gone. B. Grandy, he takes Daniel Jones. Makes sense. He's got a bunch of Colts and Jatavion Sanders, stacking him with Bryce Young. DQ105 says QJ fits the underdog format well. Yeah, he seems to just score touchdowns when defenders fall over. That is good on all formats. But no, I agree. I like QJ, because he's not going to be like a volume merchant, and so he's not going to like be a PPR scam. But he's shown a little bit of a nose for the end zone. Kelly says, I know people hate this, but if for some reason they cannot make decisions, I took all 3 Cleveland running backs. I don't mind that when there's 2, but 3 is tough for me to get to. It's tough for me to get to, especially because it's Cleveland, and how many rushing touchdowns is Cleveland going to score this season? Like it could be low, but hey, you know what? Maybe I like that a little more on like DraftKings. If you get 20 rounds, where the late rounds, you're like, your main goal is to like not get a 0. But that is an aggressive move there. Maybe against like a big Pittsburgh stack, if you're like all in on week 17 there. Notable Jeudy and Tillman with Flacco spits, small sample, noise disclaimer. Yeah, Flacco can bolster some just like really mediocre receivers. So I don't hate that. Yeah, maybe that's the answer. We are all learning how to build these things, and who is to say that you don't need all of the Cleveland backfield? Al Boogie says Sanders will finish end of season for Cleveland once they're knocked out. Yeah, that's it. No, it'll be Travis Etienne. He'll get cut and he'll just smash in Cleveland. Al Boogie says that'll happen by week 5. Terrence Charles, great voice. What line of work are you in? I feel like you're being sarcastic, Terrence Charles, but thank you very much. I'm gonna say, assume you're not. I'm actually an attorney by trade, believe it or not. But I just I hate that, and I love this, so that's why I'm spending this morning with you all. Greg VS, big brain stuff from Tyler. Well, you would not expect anything else. Timid reminding us that Godwin took a a friendly deal. That is true as well. But the Godwin stuff again, that's a little scary because there was like some injury worry. So I'm hoping that's because he wanted to stay in Tampa. But going back to Godwin, I do think he was offered more by New England. So let's see what that ends up being. Who do we want to take here? Taj Brooks is very tempting to me. Keaton Mitchell, I think he is the contingent back you want in Baltimore, but maybe we will make this a Taj Brooks team. Week 10, be damned. If he is the backup there, then this would be like drafting, Chase Brown with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So we'll add Taj Brooks to the team. This team ends up being a 3-6-6-3 team with Burrow, Mahomes, and Stroud. So a ton of QB firepower. Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard, Isaiah Pacheco, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, and Taj Brooks at running back room. So a little thin, but not terrible. Not awful. Jamar Chase, MHJ, Xavier Worthy, Christian Kirk, Quentin Johnson, and Jalen Noel. Again, I like the first three, and then after that, it's telling a story. I don't know if the story is any good, but there is a story being told. And then Travis Kelce, Mike Gesicki, and Dalton Schultz, the triple tight end stack. All right. Who Hames says, or Best Ball and Call, who would like to add Pat Bryant to that team as well? I would have loved Pat Bryant on this team. It did not work out. Timid 1387. Guess taxes could pay in as well. Florida is one of those states, I think Texas as well, where that is not nothing, not having to pay state income tax. DQ 105, they are cheap enough together. Dirty P asking if Jack Betch is being left for dead. Is he? No, I think people are just very scared about the him running with the twos, and I don't think he's dead. I think he's fine. High draft capital offense that most people are excited about. I think he's a perfectly fine click, and I will take him late. I think the issue is that he was in that wide receiver dead zone around 130-ish, high 120s, mid 130s. And now that he's out of there, that range feels even more dead. So I feel like we're all really feeling the loss of Jack Betch in that range. But I'm fine. I'm fine adding Betch to the teams. He just might get off to a slower start than maybe we want. GM Sean Mitchell, thank you so much for coming in. DQ105 thinks it's the Raiders' fourth option. Well, we'll see. It's we don't want to get too week one focused. There is, by the end of the season, he could be a little more than that, but obviously to start out, it could be it could be a little slower than we want. Dirty P is going to quit correcting me. It's Tyler Shuck. I did it again. I don't know why I thought it was Tyler Show. My goodness. It is Shuck time. Tyler Shuck. Round 18, my guy. You will all regret sleeping. Well, you heard it here first. He was actually a round 17 guy in this draft. So word is getting out. Dirty P. Greg says practically a wash after Massachusetts taxes. Yeah, they're pretty tough in some of these New England states. Taryn says, you sound like an appeals attorney. I am also an attorney in Georgia/NYC. Oh, well, thanks. That's actually high praise from an attorney being working on appeals. You that's like what you want to do in law school, and then you realize like that everyone doing that is 65 years old and is never going to leave the job, and so you're not going to get hired doing that. Dirty P. Torrey Horton was born to smash in Kubiak's offense. Well, I can't read that because the letters marked MVS are covering Torrey Horton. So I'm just going to keep drafting MVS. Dirty P. We're going to BBM. Do people want a BBM or another puppy? I guess I could run a morning BBM. I only have time for one more draft today, so whatever. I guess I'll do a BBM next. Who Ames predicts Betch is going to rise back to 135 when he's great in camp, and Dirty P agrees. Dirty P says not Tyler Shuck, Torrey Horton. That's my guy. Torrey, get you some chat. He'll be a guy I'm watching in training camp, but I do like MVS. Greg says, pup it up. I'm going to get in this one. All right, I'll hop in a puppy. I think puppies are a little more friendly to try to get people into, because the price point is nicer. And, I don't mind like if things go terribly awry in a puppy. So let's fire up a puppy. I'm gonna count down 5 seconds and hop in here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll get this puppy rolling. Waiting for 2, waiting for 1. I hope people were able to get in. I'm sorry if not. These things are filling fast and furious. Timid 1387. This is fantastic. Great stuff. Thank you. Hey, thanks for the kind words and thanks for spending the morning here. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it with you all. So we're here in the 3-hole. We're here in the 3-hole. We've got Fins Fan 29. Is that you, Greg VS? I can't remember. B Grandy is in here. Awesome. I don't know if anyone else got in. So again, I'm sorry. At least if you got in the overflow and didn't want to do it, hopefully you had time to get out. But this was waiting for 2. Who Hames says 4 by week 10 by round 5. Who cares? It's puppy. Yeah. Who Hames. That was such a fun draft, and we stacked week 10 by week, and and then we stacked week 12 running back week. So we built the most weekly winners puppy team. Greg VS, puppy streets are loaded in July. Look at these guys. I mean, people are drafting fast and furious here. So Jamar Chase goes at the 101. We don't see anything too odd there. Like last time we had CMC go, and I'll just take Justin Jefferson at the 3 after Fins Fan takes Bijan. UFC Jaguar, thanks so much for coming in this morning and for drafting with us. I see you there in the 9-hole. So let's see how this draft. We got some friends and family in here. Saquon at the 5. Things that were unheard of when BBM opened was Saquon Barkley at the 5. He was pretty firmly at the 102, and now we're seeing him all the way. I've seen him out at pick 6 and 7 in some recent drafts. So he has been sliding. Again, opinions vary as to why. I think I agree with the take that it's just Saquon fatigue. And I'm also sympathetic to people who just like the 2v2s of starting with a receiver and then taking a running back versus taking a running back and then a receiver. Getting these truly elite receivers do feel better than having your first receiver be like a Lad McConkey. I like Lad McConkey. I don't necessarily agree with the take that the 2v2s are better, but I see the arguments that people make. So with all of that said, we get Justin Jefferson at the 3. I forget who was it. Dirty P, who you had the Vikings Lions stack. I like that a lot. I think that's truly is a game to target. So those builds kind of naturally come together when you get Jefferson. So let's see what we get. We've got 2 people, including our new friend, UFC Jaguar, going robust RB with CMC. Derrick Henry, NFL Cow fan. He takes Genty and Taylor. So again, a couple robust RB starts. Let's see what the room is giving to us. Lad goes. That's unfortunate. Lad Jefferson would have been fun. Let's try to get a little different, and we'll take Tyreek Hill here. We'll pass on Bucky. I like Bucky a lot. I took Bucky last draft, so we're just trying to keep it fresh for everybody out there and not sort of draft a kind of repeat team. There it goes. So the 1-hole takes Chase and Higgins. So let's see if he tries to pull off the Joe Burrow push. Our friend Fins Fan here, he goes robust RB. So we had 3 robust RBs in the first round. He adds MHJ to the team. Josh Jacobs by ADP. Garrett Wilson in my heart. Let's do Garrett Wilson. Yes, I'm a Dolphins fan, but a New York Jet receiver is one of my favorite clicks. This is unfortunate, but maybe it's a little bit of a happiness hedge. But I really like Garrett Wilson this season. I love where we can get him. I like that he kind of lines up with Fields here around pick 99 or pick 94, depending on what Fins Fan and Brad are at quarterback. Pushing Fields is always a little risky, though, because you can take him unstacked and you can't really complain when that happens. So we'll see. We'll see what the room is giving to us. But so far, so good. So we've got B. Grandy and I holding it down as Piss Boys here. B. Grandy with Lamb, McConkey, and McLaurin. Greg, are you Finn's fan? Because I don't want to go over Finn's fan's team if he's just like a random dude, sitting in traffic. NFL Cow fan though, going triple running back, and UFC Jaguar, he adds his first receiver as Devontae Adams. So interesting start here. Let's see. I don't mind Adams as your first receiver. I think there you're just telling yourself a story that he is, truly in that elite category. And as Steve from Fanspeak was saying that he could see a universe. He's not saying it's likely, but where Adams outscores Puka. I don't think that's crazy. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's like would be the most shocking outcome. I mean, Adams' game has aged super gracefully, and he has just been one of the most consistent players in the NFL, and one of the players you've wanted every single year in the playoff week. So never too upset to add him to the crew. George Pickens at 39 is very early, but he wouldn't be there at 58. So if you want this little combo here, you get him. NFL Cow fans says I do not need wide receivers. I'm good. He takes Jalen Hurts. And so let's see what the room is giving to us here. Interesting stuff. If we want to truly continue zero RB, we can. It is getting it's getting a little thin at other positions, but I think if I don't take JMO, I won't get him. I do really like the week 17 game. So I'm going to take this. At the very least, I'll get those two pieces from that game. And Jared Goff is goes in a range where I'm generally happy to take a quarterback. So let's add JMO there and see what the rest of the room gives to us. Unfortunately, if we want to take a running back, our first running back is going to be in this Chuba Walker range. I don't do a lot of 5 wide receiver stuff, but let's see what Finn's fan does. He takes Travis Hunter. You know what we're going to do, folks? We are going to take Jalen Waddle. We are going to be true piss boys. I wish Kevin were here to see this. 5 receivers in a row. I do not build a lot like this. A true 0 RB strategy, but we are going to try it. We're going to see what happens. And obviously Tua becomes a priority here. Greg is Mooncat, been on a break. Okay, that's right. I knew you weren't Greg, and so I was trying to remember, and I saw another Dolphins fan. Okay, well, forget Fins fan 29. He's on the outs. Dirty P is high on Adams, 2-3 turn high. Yeah, he's awesome. I'm never too upset to get him, especially in this range where I think it's kind of like a bit of a wonky tier if you're not taking the elite. If you're not taking the elite quarterbacks over in that range. JT Best Ball GM. I know you had Huhames on late. I tried to stay up and I fell asleep because I think you guys went on at 11, which was late. But I will. I have it in my queue to catch the replay today, so I will try to see what you guys cooked up, and I'm looking forward to that. JT Best Ball again is worth the sub over there. If you do not sub to JT Best Ball, he is in the content mines as well. Dirty P saying what up. Good luck on the felt. I assume Dirty P is JT is playing some poker. If that is true, good luck. If you are on the felt playing pool, good luck with that. And whatever kind of things are going on the felt, I wish you well as well. Best Ball on call just came back from the bathroom. This makes me feel like I need to go again. Yeah, this is as piss boy as I get. I have to tell you all. This is not how I typically build, and part of that is because now my first running back is going to be like Judkins or Swift, and that's sketchy. But you know what? We're taking Chris Godwin. 6 wide receivers in a row. No more wide receivers. We now have Week 17, Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins versus Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin as wide receiver 6. Do not let me take any more receivers. I do not need them. We're going to try to dig out of this hole and see what happens. JT Best Ball, it's all good. I know it's late. That's the only time that works. Yeah, I mean, this this is the only time that works for me. And I know it's a smaller pool of people tuning in, but that's okay because this is awesome. And I love doing this with you. And the morning crew is truly awesome doing these streams with all of you guys. So I am more confident in my running back one as Pacheco than Judkins. So I'm going to take Pacheco. Sam Laporta would be getting a little too cute. I know for zero, true zero RB. If I want to go extreme zero RB, I could have done that. But, if I'm able to get the running back one in Kansas City as my first running back, that's going to be pretty good. Obviously, if he's not, this team is in trouble. But we are, when you go 6 wide receivers, you got to take some big swings. And I think Pacheco, as boring of a name it is kind of a big swing. Going to Vegas this weekend. Hey, good luck. Good luck out there. Have fun. Vegas is it's definitely a fun time. So yeah, good luck. Good luck on the felt. Uno Mas. Yes. Yeah, Greg, we went for it. We went for extreme zero RB. I mean, I guess extreme is like when you don't take one to the 10th. I just can't bring myself to do it. I've tried it before and I'm like, this is rough. 6 wide receiver room for sure. I mean, it better be. It better be if you're taking 6 receivers before anything else. Dirty P says we need 1 for a marathon, and it filled. Well, Dirty P, I'm glad you got the I'm glad you got your marathon filled. I can say with honesty, I am unlikely to do a single marathon this year unless Underdog puts some kind of like really incredible promo for it. And 4 marathons plus 12 other drafts for $50, was not it for me. Not to complain about the Underdog promos, that's fine, but I'm not playing the marathon this year, so I didn't want to just like have 4 random marathons that I'm gonna hemorrhage money in to try to chase that promo. So I admire the marathon people. It is a cool contest, and you know what? If I happen to spike a good marathon team in BBM, then thankfully they have the regular season payouts. But yeah, just not the contest for me on Underdog. Dirty P says +4 to sprint. Dirty P is the promo. Well, drafting with you, Dirty P, is certainly better than virtually anything Underdog could offer. So I do appreciate that. But yes, if anyone wants to sprint, Dirty P is in the lobby waiting for you. All right, let's see what's coming to us. I think I need a running back here more than I need Justin Fields, and I think that would be Jordan Mason. If Jordan Mason goes, I think we just got to take Mason here, and do that. I think now I will take Fields, but I am tempted to just take Scatterbo and then tell myself my quarterbacks will be Tua and possibly Goff. I'm a little unsure of what I want to do because I also have Baker here as a possibility who makes sense. Hawkinson is really fun at tight end. I have a lot of options, folks, and I am not exactly sure how I want to land this plane. So Hawkinson goes. Do we take Baker or do we take a running back? I think I need to take Scatterbo because this is kind of the end of a range where you could even tell yourself that these running backs are the starter. All of these guys past here are going to be pretty contingent-y. Maybe Dobbins, you could make that argument. But I know I guess I could have taken Etienne if I was really honest with myself as far as like who could be the starter. But I just don't take Etienne because, you can just do things. You do not have to be forced into doing things you don't want. So we'll take Scatterbo. We will hopefully get we definitely need Tua on this team. Hopefully we'll get Goff. We also have JJ McCarthy as a possible out. So probably double tap quarterback here, depending on what comes to us. But if this room gets QB thirsty, then we will just see what happens. Jake Twitchell, GM, thank you so much for hopping in this morning. Really appreciate it. And yeah, having some fun drafts. Let's see what our friends are doing. B Grandy, let's go over your team. You have CD Lamb, Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Omarion Hampton, Joe Mixon, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins, and Brock Purdy. So I like the team you have assembled so far. You got the nice Purdy Pearsall stack. You have the potential to add a few different quarterbacks later. Your options are pretty open, so I like that you were able to do that. UFC Jaguar. After starting robust RB, he gets CMC Henry and then Devontae Adams, Jaden Daniels, RJ Harvey, Jordan Addison, Sam Laporta, Michael Pittman Jr. He gets to Travis Etienne and Rashad Bateman. So not bad at all. After digging out from two running backs, I feel like your wide receiver room, you took even more detours, but Addison, you're getting a nice discount because of the suspension. Pittman, I think the best ball community is down on him, but he's a great player. And Bateman, just kind of underrated. Showy, though, getting the steal of the draft with Fields at 114. That is a really nice dip on a player that generally I think kind of goes in the range that he goes in. Jared Goff going, that's a little unfortunate. I would have added him to the crew. I think that will make JJ McCarthy a little bit of a priority for me versus anybody else. I think it's too early to then like double tap Tua, where Tua goes in the next, he goes at 150. So if somebody takes Tua, they're just being mean. That's okay. We're going to take JJ McCarthy here and stack him with our guy Jefferson. I think that makes a ton of sense. Depending on what we get here, probably take our first tight end. Ingram is a big faller. I have to imagine he'll go. Yeah, he goes to Brad, who needed a tight end. Njoku, we talked a lot about earlier. I like him. Tucker Kraft, I like quite a bit as well. Interesting question here. I think I'm generally just more in on Kraft than Njoku at this point. So I will take Tucker Kraft here. But I certainly take a lot of Njoku. I think they're both good clicks in this range, but let's add Kraft to the team. Our friend B. Grandy, he is now up on the clock. UFC Jaguar, still waking up, not sure where it went wrong. I don't think your draft went wrong. I think your draft is fine. I mean, you know what you're getting yourself into, right? Your first 5 picks, you took one wide receiver. So you knew your wide receiver room was not going to look like someone who, say, started 6 receivers in a row. So we're kind of like a yin and yang. Like we balance perfectly together there. So I'm glad you're in the room with me. I think I think it's working out for everybody. I'm taking all the receivers, you're taking all the position players, and we both are going to end up with sketchy teams. But who knows? It could be fun, and I'm glad you're in here drafting, and this is fun. Thank you again so much for coming in. JT Best Ball team looking nice. Those 3 running backs after the wide receivers early is feeling really good. Yeah, I mean, I like the type of running back we got. Like, I think, again, for this to work, you have to tell yourself a story, and Pacheco as the running back 1 and Scatabo as the running back 1. I think that makes more sense than just taking like a guy for sure is in a split or kind of a part-timey player. Jordan Mason here, he's going to have a pretty good standalone role. I think he's at the least going to be the goal line back, and he fits with this Viking stack that we were doing. And I think he has pretty big contingent upside. And, there's a few guys who, I don't like to bank on injuries, but Aaron Jones is not the bastion of health. So don't mind taking Jordan Mason. He was incredible last season. I mean, he was the 101 in BRs for some weeks. Obviously it was a different situation, but he showed that he could handle workhorse volume. So happy to get Mason. I think he makes sense on the team. I will just take Tua if he comes to me. I don't think it makes sense trying to push Tua past a guy named Finn's fan. That seems bad. I would rather take probably like a Benson White or Garendo, but if I don't get Tua with this double stack, it's over. I made this mistake in BBM last year. I tried to push Tua around the corner, and the guy's name was literally Tua Stan, and he took Tua, and I was like, I only have myself to blame. So when sometimes usernames can actually give you a little bit of things to pay attention to. So let's add him to the crew. By ADP, it's Benson. I guess I just go off of that. Garendo, similar contingent upside play, maybe Jaden Blue something. Algier, I like. So there's a few options. I'm just gonna go by ADP here and take Trey Benson. And again, trying to catch up at running back. Benson, not necessarily my favorite because I don't think he has virtually no standalone value on his team, but it does seem like the Cardinals didn't add anybody, so he probably really is just the backup there. Not my favorite click on the board, but I think this team needed to add a running back, and Benson is as good as any. This showy guy is now hogging a number of receivers. He does stack Puka. So unfortunately, our friend UFC Jaguar, I imagine he was going to take Stafford there if he fell. Stafford does not. He gets Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young stacked? No, but I think that's fine. Bryce Young has some rushing upside and you can backstack him. So I imagine that wasn't plan A, but UFC Jaguar adapts on the fly. Our friend B. Grandy, he takes Isaiah Likely and Isaac Garendo. I think that makes sense after sort of triple tapping quarterbacks, but they're all stacked. Look, I mean, he's got Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, love that. Justin Herbert, Lad McConkey, that's nice too. And Omari and Hampton too with Lad. So B. Grandy, you always build teams that make sense and have good structure. So I like the way you have built this team as well. So UFC Jaguar, he does get Young and Thielen as we kind of expected. Joey B says Kraft over Warren there feels con to me. Joey B, I get what you're saying. I'm kind of out on Warren. I don't know what it is. I'm a little bit more skeptical of rookie tight ends than I think a lot of people are. But I certainly understand the complaint there. I am not I am not blind to the fact that it does feel like a much quote unquote safer pick. I just don't think I see the upside in Warren that a lot of people do. So let's see. I guess I'm gonna take Braylon out. No, I'm gonna take Wright. This is a Dolphins. This is a Tua team. Let's just take Jalen Wright here. I like Braylon Allen probably a little bit more because I think Braylon Allen is going to have a standalone role. I think they're going to split that backfield up. And, Braylon Allen famously was like 20 years old when he joined the league. So still super young. Wasn't great last season, but I'm willing to see the vision that they make some improvements there. Obviously, we might want another quarterback, but, with McCarthy and Tua and the fact that we open with 6 wide receivers, maybe we push this to a 3 quarterback build. The issue with Darnold is if I can't late stack him with another receiver, then I'm not really sure what I'm doing with him. Whereas, even Aaron Rodgers, I could add like a late Firemouth to the team. I think with all that said, we're just going to take Rico Dowdle. Speaking of guys with standalone role plus contingent value, I think Dowdle makes more sense than someone who is necessarily just like a pure handcuff. I think Dowdle is capable of scoring each week, and it could be more of a 1A, 1B situation than us Chuba Bulls want. I take a ton of Chuba, but I have come around to the idea that Dowdle could be in play. So for the audio listeners, we are a 2-6-6-1. JJ McCarthy and Tua, together with Pacheco, Jordan Mason, Scatabo, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, and Rico Dowdle. And if you're joining late, you say, why is your running back room so bad? And it's because our wide receiver room is Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, and Chris Godwin. So really about as strong a wide receiver room as you're going to see because we started with 6 receivers. We're not going to take a 7th. And then we've got Tucker Kraft at tight end. So maybe we'll add another quarterback to this team. Maybe we will not. I'm not 100% sure because, I can just go with McCarthy and Tua if we want. I think regardless, though, we are just simply done at receiver. If a 7th receiver is hitting the lineup here, we're probably cooked. So just because realistically how much we've had to catch up at the other positions. But again, a true 0 RB team. I don't build like this every time. I don't recommend you build like this every time, but I do think they're kind of fun, right? And if we have a sort of chaotic running back room or running back year where there's more injuries, then maybe these kind of builds are going to be what get through in the end. So, in a 150 max, we'll let it ride here. Since we last brought up the board, B. Grandy added Roshan and Zach Ertz. UFC Jaguar added Diami Brown and Chig. I like all those clicks. I was part of the great Diami Brown discussion that poor Davis was enduring for a way too long. Like that discussion went on way longer than it needed to. But yeah, the great the great Diami Brown wars. I'll take a Darren Waller share. I know I'm passing on Raj. You know what? Maybe this is bad. I can live without Darren Waller. I'm going to take my plan was to take Tyler Shuck and Juwan Johnson as a QB tight end battery, but Aaron Rodgers I'm pretty darn sure is going to be playing all season. If Aaron Rodgers ends up naked, I can live with that. Although I did try to push Darren Waller around the turn around Finn's fan, and so I should have known there was stone zero chance of getting Waller. I almost said that I'm going to try to push Waller. Yeah, so I did not heed my own advice, but I did like Rodgers more than Tyler Show. I think or Shuck. I think Rodgers is more likely to hit the lineup on this team. I'm going to add Jarquez Hunter, and then I miscounted. I can't add Jarquez Hunter. I need a tight end. And let's take we're going to take Mason Taylor. I think Mason Taylor is a little more upside here. We've got a couple of Jets on this team. Firemouth, I don't think Firemouth is going to go to purely to zero. I think Firemouth is still going to play quite a bit. They're going to run a lot of 12 over there in Pittsburgh. And, there is a world where Rodgers just prefers Firemouth to Jonnu. Who knows? So I'm going to keep Firemouth in the queue. I'm certainly sympathetic to the idea that Kraft and Mason Taylor, I could stop at 2, right? If I'm drafting Kraft like a superstar, then maybe it makes sense to just take one more crack at running back in this late range. So let's leave the light on for some other guys because, what's more likely to help my team? One of these running backs with contingent upside or like Pat Freiermuth giving me 9 points. And I think the question kind of answers itself there. So, let's see what comes around. Again, maybe I'll wish I had taken Jarquez Hunter, especially because where's the guy who always takes Jarquez Hunter is typically the Stafford guy. So I will be shocked if he does not go right here at 210 to Showy. Let's see what happens. Showy winds he takes Tutu Atwell. Okay, so he does take a Ram, but he doesn't take Hunter. So I think I would take Hunter over Firemouth. This tight end range is really, really thin here. So unfortunately, Jarquez Hunter goes. So maybe I will regret that. Maybe we'll just take Taj Brooks, right? If we're talking about this year needing some kind of running back Armageddon, then if something happens in Cincinnati and we think Taj Brooks is the backup, then Taj Brooks is going to be an absolute smash there. So this team ends up being a 3-7-6-2 with McCarthy, Tua, and an unstacked Aaron Rodgers. Isaiah Pacheco, Jordan Mason, Cam Scatabo, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Rico Dowdle, and Taj Brooks. So just contingent upside city here in running backs. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Jalen Waddle, and Chris Godwin at receiver. And then we just drafted like Tucker Kraft was elite and paired him with Mason Taylor. So hoping for some rookie upside there. Let's see if I can do this without it exiting. Our friend B. Grandy went 3-6-6-3. He got Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, paired them with Omarion Hampton, Joe Mixon, Isaac Guerrero, Roshan Johnson, Marshawn Lloyd, and Keaton Mitchell. So a little light on running back, but if you're telling yourself that that Hampton is going to be more of a bell cow in LA, and I think I like Mixon. I think he's a great pick there. You got some nice ADP value. This makes a ton of sense with some great secondary options with Garendo through Mitchell. Wide receiver room, CD Lamb, Lad McConkey, Terry McLaurin, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Jaden Higgins. No notes. Great group there. And then likely Ertz and Schultz. I think all of those picks add up to me. Nice team there. B Grandy, always good at stacking on your teams. Let's see what UFC Jaguar. He went 3-4-8-3. So he goes hyper fragile running back. Let's see. Excited to review this one. Jaden Daniels, Bryce Young, and Daniel Jones. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, RJ Harvey, Travis Etienne. Yeah, I mean, you have made your bed with this running back room. So stopping at 4, I think is it's hard to do, but I think it's smart. You got to draft like you're right. Devontae Adams, Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman, Rashad Bateman, Marvin Mims, Hollywood Brown, Adam Thielen, and Dynamic Brown. I like this room here, especially, you went 0 RB, but you paired your guys. You took some players who I think have some kind of later round upside with Mims, Brown, and the other Brown. And tight end room of Laporta, Chig, and Theo Johnson. So not bad. Lay the house RM trophy emoji. Thank you so much for Lay the House RM for coming in. UFC Jaguar says he should have taken Debo over Addison. Maybe. I mean, I prefer the stack in that case, but I don't hate that. I really like I like Addison there. I think has a chance to be like an absolute late season hammer, and Daniels can get there without Debo getting there. So I think that's fine. I mean, I don't think that was like any kind of crazy misstep. Best Ball on call. Am I the only one who sees UCF Jaguar? Is it UCF? It is UCF. I was calling you UFC Jaguar. I apologize. I now realize this is probably a Golden Knight here who also likes the Jaguar. So I apologize, UCF. Best Ball on call. No, you were not the only one. You were just reading it correctly. And you know what I can do? I can blame this new font that Underdog pushed on us for my inability to read it. Yeah, everyone sees UFC. All good. Well, again, I thank you so much for coming in and for drafting with me. So everybody had a great stream with you all today. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow. I normally stream on Fridays. I think I'm going to be able to, but I will tweet out if I'm unable to, because we've got some real world childcare stuff to sort out. But I'm going to do my best. Be Grandy 17. Thank you for the kind words, and thank you for drafting with me. But everyone, on the way out, if you could like and subscribe, it helps keep this fledgling little stream going. So again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.